Netflix, you've done it again, and I mean that with the utmost disrespect. It was announced this week that Heartstopper, my beloved, beloved Heartstopper, would be coming to an end, which wasn't super surprising. I mean, again, it's a Netflix show. How many seasons can you really get out of it? Actors were also kind of getting booked for more and more stuff, so it was always kind of coming to an end. I feel like we definitely felt like we were getting towards the end of this journey. However, it is announced that instead of getting a final season to wrap everything up, Netflix is giving us a movie to wrap everything up, and it's kind of being touted and treated as like a great thing, like, oh my gosh, you're getting a movie. And I feel like that's leftover remnants from like when in the early 2000s, like your half-hour TV show, right, would be getting a movie, or like your High School Musical direct to TV movie would be getting a theatrical release, and it felt bigger and better and more prestigious. When I heard this news that we would be getting a movie to wrap everything up with Heartstopper, my immediate reaction was, why? I just think, again, that prestige level of like, oh my gosh, you're getting a movie to wrap everything up, doesn't have the same effect anymore when we're going from a 6 to 8 episode season of 30-minute episodes to now a 2-hour movie at most, right? To now an hour and a half, 2-hour movie at most. Like, I just feel like it's acting like because it's a movie, it's so like big and important and everything, but realistically, time-wise, it's probably going to have a lot less time to cram in stories and really draw out what's happening and make it satisfying. I'm excited that we're getting a resolution and ending to this, because that often doesn't happen with Netflix series, and I do think this is one of the best book to movie adaptations I've ever seen. And I understand that, again, maybe there's outstanding factors with Kit and Joe both like being booked and busy with other things. However, you're looking at a 6-volume book series, right? Volume 6, which is going to be the last in the series, is not even out yet. It's currently being released like on the webtoons page by page. We've had 3 seasons of Heartstopper. Season 1 was basically book 1. Season 2, basically 1 book. And season 3, basically another one. So I was never getting my hopes up to think that we were going to get 6 seasons. However, I thought 4 or 5 would be a perfectly good amount, and I honestly think getting even 1 more would have been good, just to kind of wrap everything up. So what Volume 6 is mostly about, and what this movie is going to be focused on, is them trying to navigate their relationship with Charlie staying because he's a year younger, and Nick going off to university and trying to figure out how they're going to make their relationship work, and also Nick himself trying to figure out kind of who he wants to be, where he wants to go to university, and just identity stuff with that. So there is definitely like stuff to unpack there. I just think, and I was talking to my friend about this, that for the movie, I think it's going to be focused on Nick and Charlie, which is great, love them, but I think the sacrifice is going to be that the side characters don't get as much time and development as they deserve and as we love to see. I mean, I love Nick and Charlie. They are obviously like the driving force of this. They're the main relationship. They're on all the posters and all the book covers and everything like that. However, I still really, really love Tao. I love Elle. I love Isaac. I love Imogen. Like, there's so many characters that really, I think, need their time and deserve their time because they're just so amazing. I love Tao and Nick's friendship and how we've seen that develop and change and really grow from animosity on Tao's part to like actually being there for him when Charlie was gone and Nick was, you know, alone and just felt like he couldn't do anything for him. I liked seeing the development of like Tori and Michael's relationship and how that was just getting started and everything, and I feel like we're really going to be sacrificing those moments for getting just Nick and Charlie's story, which again is really important, but it's just there's so much more to this Heartstopper world, and it's sad to think that while we'll get a proper send-off for Nick and Charlie, we might have to lose some of the development that we've got with Tao and Elle, or even Imogen. Like, I feel like her whole journey, would that have been cut out if this was just each a movie, you know, of seeing how she develops and kind of comes to understand her sexuality throughout all of the seasons and everything. And I feel like so much is set up, and it's so wonderful how this world has just expanded to include all these characters that, again, I just don't want to see them pushed to the side, which I feel like is inevitably is what's going to happen. And I don't think they'll be fully shunned. Like, I think they'll be in the movie, obviously. I just think their storylines that they had going will have to be cut dramatically. Obviously, I think the entire storylines will have to be cut dramatically to fit it into a movie length. And I just feel like, again, it's kind of that old mentality of like, movie better than TV show, which is like still so old-fashioned, but it's just because when you think of like TV shows, you think of like a 45-minute TV show, traditional like cable or broadcast, 30 minutes, something like that. Like when The Simpsons got a movie, it was a big deal because you went from like a 30-minute cartoon once a week to now an hour-plus movie that you're watching. Same with Bob's Burgers. Even if like Vampire Diaries or something and it had like a movie, it would have felt like an extended episode. These episodes now are so tiny. They're half an hour, but you get 8 per season, and that's the whole story you're telling. Like, it's not like back in the day when like episodes, yeah, the seasons had like an overarching arc of them, but a lot of times the episodes themselves were self-contained. So like if you did a movie, it would kind of just be, again, an extended episode of like just this big bad that we're fighting or this problem that we're dealing with is just going to be a larger thing and take a longer time, instead of being like, oh, like literally this whole plan and character growth and story progression that we had planned for all of this, because you have to watch all the episodes together to see everything pay off and see the journey and all that. So that is what, 30 times 8 is 240, right? So over 4 hours. Over 4 hours is going to be basically cut down, probably more than cut down in half, to wrap it up in a movie, and I just think it feels impossible to pull it off well. Do I still think it'll be good? Yes, absolutely. Alice is producing, writing, all that stuff, and they have proved that they're phenomenal at adapting their story to the silver screen, and now I'm sure the movie screen, so I don't think there'll be anything bad with that. I just think it's not going to be the complete story, and it's going to feel rushed, or even as good as it is, there's going to feel like something's missing. Like something is just gone that should have been, and I really think the biggest thing is going to be the side characters. Like Tao and Elle are going to be sacrificed for that. So far, the only confirmations too of like who's actually going to be back are Joe and Kit. So I think there's more than a chance that like someone won't be back. Like, yeah, I know like a lot of the other actors have things booked too, so it just, I don't know, it's so strange to me. I say this all the time, but Netflix's decisions, and again, I understand that maybe this was like in joint, like conjunction with the cast, because maybe they have like other obligations they want to do and stuff, and they don't want to commit to 2-3 more seasons, but Heartstopper's popular. It's really, really popular, and not only that, but I feel like there's nothing similar to it on any streaming, movie, broadcast, cable, anything right now. There's nothing like that. So it's just, I don't know, it's really mind-boggling, and it's also very sad that like this is what we have to be happy with, is a movie, because I just don't think it could possibly service to the broader story. And also, again, like we've got 3 seasons, say those match 3 books with like a little stuff thrown in there from like other future books. How are we gonna put 3 volumes, 4, 5, and 6 into a, again, I'm saying 2-hour at most movie, because I really can't see it being more than 2 hours at most, when you've had 1, 2, and 3, which is the same amount of volumes, for over 4 times 3, let's say 12 hours of story. Like, I just feel like something is gonna have to be sacrificed, and I feel like going from these really fleshed out, well done, long seasons to then a movie is gonna show the difference. And again, I think it's gonna be good. Like, I don't have any doubt about that, but I just feel like something's gonna be missing, and it's gonna be more like kind of Red, White, and Royal Blue, where like if you read the books, you know that like the side characters are way more developed in that, but obviously they didn't have the time to do that in a movie, so the side characters are just kind of there to serve the main characters, and I think it won't be maybe as pronounced in this one, since you already do know the side characters and know like their love lives and stuff like that. And I know like if it is going to focus on like Nick going to university, then obviously like there's other characters that are going to be thinking about university, so they can be with him and stuff like that. I do think they'll still be there. I just, one, wouldn't be surprised if some of the characters aren't there. Elle, I think in particular, I wouldn't be super surprised if her actress doesn't come back, just because I feel like she's got a lot of stuff going on. It sucks because I feel like I want to be excited for her. I want to be excited that like we're actually getting a proper ending to this, but at the same time, I'm like, why is this what we're being given? It kind of feels like scraps in a way of like, this show definitely could have gone on for at least two more seasons, definitely 3. There could have been a season for everyone and every book, and I feel like to not do that and to wrap it up in a movie is just gonna make it end on like kind of a flat note, I feel like, honestly. And again, I think it just speaks to the wider issue of the problem with streaming, of you have these shows that you get super excited about for a month's end or whatever, and then you don't hear or see from them for a year, and then when you finally do get it, you can't even be excited that like you're going to get a good ending to this, because it's either going to get canceled without warning or it's just going to get some wrap-up movie. And even then, if it does get a final season or a wrap-up movie, there's still always the chance that that gets canceled, because that's happened before. So I just think I love this show so much, and what I love about it is that it's a show so they have time to expand even more upon like the ideas that we've seen in the books. Like, how excited were you when we got Tori and her love interest starting to develop? And that was just such a micro thing, but like, if you know the books, you know where it's going, and it just makes you so excited. I was excited when we got Charlie's little brother. He was his cousin in this, but still, like, seeing that, and that was kind of a reward for like, thanks for sticking with the show, for making it what it is. Like, now we have time to put in more of like the Easter eggs for the fans and like make this a fully fleshed thing. Imogen's story, like I said, absolutely love her whole journey, and I was so excited to see how that developed in future seasons. Now I feel like it's either going to be rushed or just pushed to the side, and that's frustrating. That's disappointing. I feel like it takes away the joy, the entertainment you have in these TV shows, and it just makes it a commodity. Like, that's all it is, and there's nothing to be excited for a movie that's going to be less than half the time of what a proper season would be. And to make it seem like it's this great big send-off and everything is just like, I'm not buying what you're selling. I'm gonna watch it. I think it's gonna be great, and I love Nick and Charlie, like I said, so I'm excited that we're going to get a proper ending to them. I just, again, wish this had run for more seasons, because I think it absolutely could have had the popularity. And then I'm also frustrated that the way they've decided to wrap it up is not even giving them a proper full last season, but just a movie where now they have to cut things out, switch characters around and everything like that, because you know what's going to happen. Like, I'm sure everyone's going to get their moment, everyone's going to get their wrap up, but there's just no way you can compare a movie to a full-fledged season and like what we would have seen with that. Like, every single character could have got basically an episode to themselves almost towards the end, or half an episode to themselves, to wrap up their storyline and show their journey and everything. And I think just the trajectory of going from a movie and how quickly you have to put everything into that versus a TV show where you have time to set things up and time to start character developments and growths and arcs that you want to have done by the end of the season, if you wanted that to be the final season, would have been so great. So now to just have it all wrapped up so quickly is rather disappointing. So yeah, I just think it's a disappointing thing, and I really wish that they had given it at least a final season full of episodes instead of a movie. I was talking to my friend about it, and she kind of felt the same way, so I'm so curious to know what you guys think about it. But I just think having it be a final movie is just gonna be, it's gonna make it not memorable. And I feel like they're trying to sell it as like, it's so cool, it's a movie, it's an experience, and I'm like, it's literally a quarter of the time I'd be getting with them to say goodbye if you had just given them a last season. So I find that frustrating. And then also the idea that they're like, yeah, we're gonna like adapt the last volume. I'm like, okay, what about all the other storylines you haven't touched? Like, we're just gonna ignore those. So it's just disappointing, especially for how good and this is and how good of a book adaptation this is, which you don't always get. It's disappointing. So yeah, let me know what you think about it down in the comments, and if you kind of agree that I think side characters are going to get pushed more for Nick and Charlie's story, which, again, I get they're the main couple, but we've come to love all these characters and all their journeys, and I want them all to have their moment and not just be like a 5-minute arc in a movie. So yeah, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. Also, make sure you give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!